everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone Season 2, Episode 23. It's called 100 Yards Over the Rim. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. This episode features Uncle Ben from Spider-Man in the early 1800s, who is traveling in a small, a troop of caravans who are going to California. They've heard of the great land of California with the sun and the sand and the fresh water, and they're all excited about it. And they're going to go. But some of them, they used to have more to turn back. The main character's son is dying. We'd find out later. The doctor would get speculates that it's pneumonia just based on the symptoms. And they're all having second thoughts, except the leader, except Christian, our main character, Uncle Ben. And he says, look, let me just go and look over that ridge, that rim over there, see if I can find anything, any water, any game to hunt. Let me see if I can find anything. And he pops in to present day 1961. He sees a road, power lines, and then eventually a truck, which makes him soil himself. Not literally, but essentially.
It's a monster.
And he makes his way to a small diner slash gas station on the road, where he encounters some present day characters. And, the fish out of water and the learning of where he is and where it goes from there. So, we'll get into the rest of it as we go. Tara, how did you feel about 100 yards over the rim?
I really liked this episode. I thought it was pretty good.
No, I thought it was pretty good too. It's kind of a flip in a premise we've had before. I feel like we've had characters who just sort of pop either in the past or into the future, either direction. We've done that a couple of times. Obviously, this has some specifics. He has a dying child, and it's almost immediately when he finds civilization of some kind in present day, he's presented with a medication that's just common. You can buy it. You don't need a prescription for it. Just a bit of penicillin. It's like, yeah, this will probably save him.
Just take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Yeah.
Yes, that's it's that simple. And how easily they have water. They pour water out of a tap, and he's like, water? I must examine this.
Yeah.
But I'm also dehydrated, so crap, I'm going to dunk it.
Yeah. I like, he takes a little sip at first because he's just making sure it's actually water. He just handed it to me and drinks it all. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, the episode is very simple. Obviously there's the fun of him being scared of the truck and coming to the diner. And then it's, the guy who runs the diner is kind of nice to him, and is concerned that he's maybe a little bit confused, or maybe there's something wrong.
Well, he asked him how long has he been walking through the desert, and he says he's been in the desert for a year.
Yeah.
That can mess up a person.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So they bring him inside, and he did accidentally shoot himself when he dove from the truck that went past, and his arm. So his wife, the guy's wife, who's a bit of a nurse, treats the wound, bandages him up.
She was like a nurse's assistant or something for a little while.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of them sort of questioning things like, that gun's like an antique, but it looks really new. That's weird. All these things. And eventually, we get the reveal, or not the reveal, but Christian sees the calendar at one point and says, it says 1961, but we're in the year of 1800 and whatever. And
I think 1840 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something in that range. It was that kind of area. And it's, and he ends up looking at his own son in the encyclopedia, which it does note he did not die until 1910 or something like that. So he does live, well into his adulthood, and also seemingly advanced medicine quite a bit. He was this prominent child doctor.
Specifically, for pediatrics.
Yeah, which is interesting, the idea that, him because ultimately what happens, of course, is that he runs back with the penicillin and goes back in time and gives this to his son to save him. And obviously this bottle of medication clearly inspires him to grow up and, spearhead the revolution, as it were. I think what makes this episode work, because at face value it's really simple. It's just a guy comes forward in time, encounters a few modern things, mainly the medication, and goes back with it and saves his kid. And everyone who's sort of it cuts back to the couple afterwards, and because at one point he drops his gun when he's been chased by the guy from the diner and the sheriff who's kind of shown up at this point, and he drops his gun. So when we cut back to present day and the guy's brought the gun back, I picked it up after he dropped it, but all of a sudden it looks really old, as if it's been lying in the desert for 100 years. It's like, okay, so whatever timey-wimey thing let him warp through time is kind of it's closed, and the gun has literally been there now for 100 years.
Yeah, I actually was surprised that we got a follow-up because we seem to be just on our lead character of Christian Horn the whole time. So like when he goes into the future, he's just suddenly there. And then when he goes back to the past, he's just suddenly back in the past, and we're still on him. So I was surprised we got a cut to the future at the end. Yeah. To be like, oh, and then here's this thing. We can't explain it. It's the Twilight Zone. Woo!
What I think makes it work, right? Because one of the things that I think cutting back to the couple in present day does is that it solidifies that this is just not some... I mean, the fact that he brings the penicillin back also proves that it was real, I suppose, but it solidifies that they're also equally real as he is. Like, it's not just like he went into some sort of warpy mind thing. It's no. There's literally... He went into the future, and this is the real future. And I think what gives the episode a bit of a backbone in terms of what its concept is that the point of this is that they kind of start, or at least this is the implication I got from the episode, is that they're kind of the founding fathers of what becomes California. And this road and civilization that he's seen like a peak of is what they build, you know, what comes from them because they get there. So it renews them with hope and the idea.
Because the people at the diner told him, like, oh, there's water and, you know, sure, some game, like probably just over there. You know, they give him direction of where to go. And when he comes back to his family, he's like, I know where we're going.
Because the whole hope of them going is they're going for a better life, a better land. They want to start something. So the idea of like him seeing a glimpse of what this civilization in some way will become is kind of like, you know, it reinforces his hope. Like just when he was maybe the last one who was about to lose hope, he's given this. No, what you're going to do is important. Here's what it is. Of course, and maybe this is also a time thing as opposed to a cultural thing. But the fact that he shows up with this musket, and maybe the fact that it's a really old looking gun is why the guy never like questions the fact that he's walking around with a big rifle. But like, no one's going to question that he's just walking around with a rifle. No one's going to be like, hey, this is a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's probably the time. They're also, I think they're in Arizona, where they are, because they said something about Phoenix.
No, they said the couple said they came from Arizona. So I don't know if we're actually they're in New Mexico.
Did they? I thought they came from the... Okay.
Rod Serling says they're in New Mexico at one point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably more common just to see people out there hunting, or I don't know, it's a desert, so maybe not. But
so they're relatively close to California, you know, you know, because they left one of the O states.
Ohio.
Thank you. Is that one? My mind kept saying Oklahoma. It's not Oklahoma. It was not. It was a shorter word. Damn it. Yes, Ohio. So relatively speaking, they're close. They're getting there. They're already in desert. Like,
been wandering the desert for a year apparently. Not very good at navigation.
Yeah. It was a slow start. All right, civilization was a slow start.
Yeah. I think this episode really works because I think the main actor Cliff Robinson is like, I think he's terrific in the episode. Honestly. Yeah.
He's good. As one of the other actors who is there in the old timey stuff with him, you pointed out was Gomez from the Addams Family. I thought he looked very distinct actually, but I've never seen the classic Addams Family, so I never.
Yeah, he's got those really big eyes.
Yeah. Much
like Raul Julia does, did. But yeah, you see him right away. You're like, hey, Gomez Addams, what are you doing in here? And he doesn't really have much of a part. So I think the Addams Family was also the 60s. So it wouldn't have been too much longer than he would have been a leading guy in his own show.
The actress who played the wife's name is Evans.
I saw that.
I mean, it could just be a stage name. It could just be a stage name rather than like a real name. Because if you're that parent, you're like, you know, my surname's Evans. What we're going to name our daughter? Evans.
I've met somebody like that. I met a Timothy T. Timothy before. Guess what the T stood for?
Come on, no way.
Yeah.
If I was him, I'd walk around calling myself Triple T. All right.
I'm T cubed.
Oh dear. Yeah, I mean the episode is a pleasant episode. You know, it has some of the sci-fi stuff with the time travel. It's maybe a little bit in the I don't want to say predictable, but you kind of know where it's going very early on. You know, it's very clear. Like what, as soon as he looks at that medication, as soon as he's given the pills, it's like, okay, this is just about him going back to save his son. Although I did question a little bit, like, can he even go back? Like, you know, if he gets to that same bit of land, like, is he even going to let him go back there, or is it going to be something else? And
yeah, wondering, you know, what the rules are.
Yeah.
I like the idea that this couple helped start, you know, because of their assistance with him being so friendly and, you know, helping him out. They are, you know, helped one of the founding families of one of the biggest states in the world. So, or yeah, you know, biggest countries, not countries, cities.
Yes.
Los Angeles, Hollywood, all that.
Yes. Yeah, I you know, I think that stuff is kind of hopeful. I mean, it's maybe a little bit, I don't know, saccharine, I guess, a little on the saccharine side, but I think it works for what it's doing. It's sort of unfiltered, hopeful.
I think, yeah, it's a very pleasant episode.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's J.J. Abrams' favorite episode, which is all right. I mean, I don't know if you watched the rest of the series, but it's good.
That was some shade there from Tara. So it's like,
well, yeah, you never know what's gonna speak to you now.
Yeah, I definitely feel
have some favorite episodes of Star Trek that people
I don't
love.
Think about that with TV shows so much, but there's definitely some people when they'll tell me their favorite movie, I'm like, that
Really?
movie, that one. Have you seen a lot of movies? Have you know, what else have you watched exactly?
Yeah, yeah, and I do judge them. Anyone who says Boondock Saints, like, we're not going to be friends.
Oh yeah, Donnie Darko's another one. Like, Donnie Darko's your favorite movie? Okay, you want to pretend you're into like indie films, but you name me another one. Go on, I dare you. I double dare you.
Yeah.
Donnie Darko's so deep, man. So intricate.
It's so underwhelming.
Oh dear. Yeah, no. I guess the one indictment of this episode is that we've kind of already run out of stuff to talk about with it. I mean,
well, it is really simple.
Yeah, I think we usually quite comfortably get closer to the 20-minute mark here with this, and we don't intentionally stretch anything out, but I would say this episode, you know, is this uplifting. There's like no mean characters in it, which is weird because I think I expected it to run someone bad at some point or something.
No, I mean, they call the cops on him. The doctor who treats him calls the cops on him.
Once he claims he's from the past, they call a doctor to examine him, and then once the doctor's examined him, he does talk about some evidence. He's like, you know, those fillings that he's got in his teeth, those are not like modern dentistry. Like, that's...
Yeah, it's more of like, I'm just really impressed at how like committed he is to this.
Yeah. But he wants to call the police, not because he thinks he's dangerous, but just because he needs care. You know, more of it's more like how you call the police when you find a child who's not with their parents and you need to...
Sure, and then he runs off and he does get chased by them, but you kind of see where it's going. I like the established rules. Like, I'm glad that they followed Horn's character the whole time. Like, when he goes, he doesn't just disappear and the cops are like, where did he go? It's just like we follow him. All of a sudden, he's not in danger anymore. He goes over the hill. We see the stagecoach. We see his family.
Honestly, the biggest thing against this episode is that there's a similar sort of premise that I think is I prefer the two, and that's the one with the pilot who goes.
Yeah, it is very similar
from season 1.
With that one, we follow the people in present day, and then he just appears in it.
Well, I mean, regardless of that, I think I like that one more because the character arc that he has in that is so good, and it's such a sort of like heroic choice that he makes by going back into his own time. I mean, here, obviously, he saves his son. Like, he's not a bad guy. Like, there's nothing wrong with this, but there's something more just inherently dramatic and kind of... I mean, they're both uplifting, but I think the pilot one was more kind of like... I said heroic.
Well, he has way more of an arc, a character arc.
There's more sacrifice.
He goes from being a coward to being a hero in the span of like 20 minutes, and
yes,
yeah, that's always going to be good to watch.
Yeah, so I think that's got a stronger dramatic hook. It's got a stronger dramatic arc for its character than this one does. But this one's quite pleasant. You know, I don't really complain about it. So, no, there you go. That's 100 yards over the rim.
I liked it.
Something to that. 100 yards over the rim, yeah. All right, next episode. So Rod Serling showed up at the end.
He did.
He did. Did you see both parts at the end?
Uh-oh.
There was a kind of ad afterwards. He was advertising smoking. He was talking about this brand, and he was
that wasn't on the CBS.
And he was talking about how smooth they taste. It was like, you shill, Rod.
Well, there was an episode where everybody was smoking in it. It was super obvious, and when you read the trivia, it's like, oh, because they were trying to promote the cigarette brand, and the brand asked them to include more smoking people in it.
No, this was just a kind of ad at the end where it actually fades away from and it fades back up. He's and one more thing, and I'm like, all right, calm down.
No, I did not see that. That has been edited out of CBS. What are you doing, CBS?
Yeah, it's on the
We're against censorship here.
So next episode 24, is called. Wait, was that one 23? Did I say 23? I think I did. Yeah, okay. The numbers are getting so high; it's hard to keep track. After successfully, the episode's called "The Rip Van Winkle Caper," which is an interesting title.
Mm-hmm. And thumbnail.
So after successfully stealing a gold shipment, a group of criminals and their scientist accomplice put themselves in suspended animation in a remote desert cave. When they awaken decades later, complications ensue when their truck is destroyed. Why does this show keep doing this, where there's like 2 episodes back to back that has a really similar element to it?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not the full century, I suppose, as this episode, but still, it's interesting.
It's always the bad people that get, I don't know, that get pulled into the future. With the exception of the episode we just watched.
Yeah, I was going to say, this one literally was not that.
But we've had like that before, where the professor from Gilligan's Island pulls back a guy who's being hanged.
The pilot one was also a good person that got pulled to the future, so...
The pilot episode? Yeah. Oh yeah, not the pilot episode. The one with the
the one with the
fighter pilot.
The pilot, yeah.
You're right. So there's just a couple of ones that stand out. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
That's fair. Well, maybe this one tips it towards the villains, I guess, like 60-40. But I mean, it's not the clean sweep, I suppose, is the point I'm making. All right,
yes, so thank you for pointing it out.
I'm so sorry. I corrected something.
Go ahead. We can end the episode now.
All right. Just it's Rod Serling, by the way. Just putting that back there.
How dare you? How dare you? What the hell is this? Just end the show.
The episode was too short. All right, Tara, promote Patreon. Off you go.
Please go to our Patreon page if you like us and you want to support us. If you donate as low as $1 per month, you will get access to the Twilight Zone reviews 1 week early. And no, if you have... Damn it. See what you did to me?
I gave you a thumbs up because you got it right.
No, because you have to donate $5 to do that.
Oh, okay. It was the week you got right. I didn't hear the first part. Because you said a week early, and I went, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Anyway...
Oh, you're not going to finish it? You're just going to that's not right. End of Patreon plug.
I get everything wrong this episode, so...
Oh, come on. I was teasing.
You know what?
Yes.
I'm good.
Okay. Go to Patreon. I'll cheer up Tara, because I've upset her. So go do that. Like and subscribe. Liking is really important on YouTube. Lets the YouTube algorithm know that we're worth recommended out, and it's a free way to support us if you don't want to give on Patreon, and that's understandable, so go do that. Otherwise, guys, on Twitter at mail_fudge for channel updates. So thank you once again for watching or listening, and I am going to keep watching TV in the doghouse in the Twilight Zone.